Hello, I'm the Loot Cartographer, and this is the 151st video of my Fallout 76 Surveyal series, and here we are at the Flooded Trainyard. Taking a look at the map, we're right here, east of Watoga, at the east end of this long rail line that runs through the tunnel, all the way around up to Grafton. So this is the southeastern terminus. The area here, the ground has subsided, the rail lines have gone down with it, and it has flooded, as the name implies. Now, I'm not entirely certain exactly when this happened. I have theories about that, but we're going to take a look at the lore we can find here, and we'll see if I can at least provide you the information to make your own decision, because again, I've got my own theory, but I'm not 100% on it. Now, the enemies you're going to find here are, you can typically find Mirelurks or cave crickets over here, but that's not always the case. There's not an enemy over here all the time, and just a minute ago I saw an albino deathclaw wandering around over there. Fighting settler engineers, but I think that was just a random event that was taking place. Along with that, if you look over here, you can see that there's a raider veteran. So this is just one of your typical single wandering members of the settlers or the raiders, and in this case it's a raider veteran, but I've also seen a raider scavver and a wanderer, so just something to keep in mind as well. In terms of collectible nodes, what you're going to be able to find here is diseased cranberries, as you can see right over there. Along with that, there's brain fungus and glowing fungus that typically forms down in these little trenches, but along with that, sometimes the brain fungus will show up in some of these buildings here on the site. Along with that, I actually did notice some silver right over here, so that's interesting. Now, along with that, there's also a Radstag buck that's right over there with that raider. And it's hanging up right there. You can see the legs. So you can always come by here and loot some of the meat and the skin off of that. So let's take a look at the site. So the first piece of lore that we're going to find is actually right here in the back of this trailer. Got a dead trader there on the ground. And up here behind this loot. Well, and one thing I want to mention before we start anything else, there's an enormous amount of junk here. So keep that in mind. Of course, I always post all this information in the description, but it's also going to show up at the end of the video. But anyway, holotape, sight to see. Oop.
Well, that was a sight to see. Near 100 cars slamming on together. What a sound. I had no idea things that heavy could fly like that. It was like watching dominoes tossed by a toddler. But when they hit the levee, I was sure I was going to be washed away. But I'm still here. Everything's wrecked past fixing. I need to find a new place to stay. Those pumps don't got it in them. But I'll never forget that day. Not as long as I live. However long that is. Think I caught that skin thing people been getting. Can't stop itching.
Okay, so keep what she said there in mind, because that is a reflection on the actual day of the event of this place subsiding into the ground. Now, there's more background information that we're going to find on a couple terminals here, but it's difficult for me to say exactly what happened here, but we'll investigate this a little further, and I'll see if maybe something more sparks in my mind. Again, I've visited this place 5 times, and I'm still not entirely certain, and that's just 5 times for this video. I've been here before that as well. So if we come in here, we got a armor workbench right there. You can typically also, well, not typically, you can sometimes also find an armor plan right here. Now, along with that, if we come up here, there's a terminal and a safe. This is the first of 5 safes, actually, but let's go ahead and look at this. So, Geological Stability Report. Attention, recent tests along the perimeter and along connecting rail lines indicate clearly a high risk of catastrophic erosion. Existing train yard infrastructure is at risk. The report shows an immediate need for reinforced retaining walls and support foundations for the entire yard and rails leading up to Watoga. Attached is the conclusive details from the tests, as well as engineering estimates for suggested preventative measures. And the response from AMS, Atomic Mining Services. We have received your report. While AMS feels for your circumstances, we reject your accusation that the earthquakes have had anything to do with our mining tests. Our own geologists have verified that these were natural occurrences. Now, keep in mind that AMS, Atomic Mining Services, were literally detonating atomic bombs underground in the area. In fact, if we look around here, we can see this drop site G3, drop site C2, and just to the southeast, drop site V9. Now, there's also the glassed cavern right here, which I think is potentially connected to drop site V9, though I don't think that's ever really fully listed anywhere. But anyway, so they were detonating atomic bombs underground in the area, and they refused to take any responsibility for the seismic instability in the area, which it's just nuts. Okay, so anyway, let's keep on moving here. So we're going to go check out this area over here. Got some petrified corpses there. More junk lying around. So you can potentially find a fusion core in here. I have yet to see one, but this is where one would spawn if one were to. Okay, Radroaches. Now there's always a settler tied up here that has clearly undergone some form of torture based on the implements here next to this chair. Okay, so if we come back out here, so you can see that like there's kind of a river sort of a thing out here, and there's the rail line running off to Watoga. Now this place is also dangerous for two other reasons other than the enemies, and that is high radiation, because there are a lot of highly radioactive barrels, and along with that there are some punji boards that you'll be able to find when we get a little bit further in here, a little bit deeper into this location. Now we'll keep on moving. Okay, there's our first Snallygaster. Okay, only died once. And it's so creepy how the head turns into the normal Snallygaster color when it drops off there. Ugh, okay. Anyway, let's keep going through here. There are a lot of Snallygasters. This place is actually quite dangerous. Again, so it really kind of has the defenses to back up the fact that it has an enormous amount of loot, or vice versa. There's a reason to come here. If you're looking to get an enormous amount of junk, you should be willing to fight the ridiculous number of Snallygasters that have taken over this site. And usually, I think almost every time I found at least one that has been a legendary Snallygaster. Much easier to do this when they can't see you. Thank you, Chinese stealth armor. Okay. So, now that we've gotten a little bit further in, again, you can see more Snallygasters in there. We got a whole row of trucks here. Or not trucks, but the trailers lined up here right here. Again, all of them kind of sinking into the ground. We've got some steam rising out of the ground, indicating there's some heat below, but there's also just a huge number of radioactive barrels. Luckily, this Chinese stealth armor protects me from that. Now we'll keep going through here, across these containers, because there's a structure here hidden behind this truck. Okay, so we can come in here. A couple of petrified corpses. And the roof itself is actually part of a path across this flooded swamp. You could also use this tree, I guess, to get to the roof of this one. And if we drop down here, you can also see the interior of this one. Not really that you can even get in there, but there you go. Okay, coming around here, we got a couple of warehouses at this end of the property, along with these large, I'm assuming these are some sort of liquid silos here. Oop. More Snallygasters. There we go. Okay, so let's take a look at this building. Now you can tell from this symbol that this was at one point occupied by the Raiders, although for some reason, I've seen this in multiple places, the symbol is upside down. And this is plainly obvious by the fact that the drips from this are running up. So, anyway, taking a look in here, we got a large industrial forklift. Some of these cargo containers. There's a power armor workbench there. Coming back here, we can climb these stairs and go up. We'll take a look over there, actually. Some crates, some shelves with a first aid kit up there. Okay, let's climb these stairs. Now again, we got a bed and a whole bunch of crates of, well, not just crates, but also any containers containing material here. Okay, coming out on the roof, we can walk around to this end of the building. And there's some more junk and some more aid there. We can come through here. Can chime there. Always get those. 9, 10 cans, which means 9 steel and 9 lead. Then we can come through here. And in here we have another holotape from the BOS, the Brotherhood of Steel. This is where they sent one of their scouts to investigate this area, so let's listen in on this.
scouting report. Brotherhood Squire Schultz. This whole train yard is half sunk in the ground. Anyone in the middle of that mess is just begging for a sniper to pick them off. These two warehouses seem to be the only good defensible positions. There's a nice walkway between them and plenty of places to get the drop on someone. I might actually be getting the hang of this.
So honestly, this holotape, along with Sight to See, just give me a certain amount of confusion. Because the way Mama was talking in her holotape, it sounded like she was living here on the site, which maybe you could say. I mean, there are obviously like hobos following trains and stuff like that, and they live near train lines and things like that. So you could say that sort of thing could have happened pre-war, but she also talks about having some sort of skin irritation, some sort of skin disease that makes her itchy, which could potentially be the scorching, or it could be that she's coming down with radiation sickness that'll eventually turn her into a ghoul. It's difficult to know. Let me just say that my original thought on this was that AMS collapsed this in with their atomic mining. Okay? Then, when you hear Mama's stuff, it sounds more like she's here post-war, and so it sounds like what happened here was potentially even Operation Touchdown, where Paladin Taggarty and her team of Brotherhood agents detonated a bomb down here in the glassed cavern in order to basically seal the tunnels to try to trap the Scorched Beasts underground. And so it almost seemed like, from what Mama was saying, like this could potentially be the spot where it just collapsed because things were already unstable. And so it's like that's why things ended up this way. But then you have the Brotherhood of Steel report, which definitely predates the Operation Touchdown, because the Brotherhood was not sending any more scouting operations out by that point in time. So it's just like this. So this definitely predates Operation Touchdown. There was also some sort of hobo living here that was potentially coming down. And I'm assuming that she was a hobo. If she was here pre-war, she would be a hobo. If she was here after the war, just your general survivor living here in the wasteland. But if she was there before the war, she's coming down with, I'm assuming, she's becoming a ghoul. Because if this was Operation Touchdown as well that caused this, I could then see it being the case that, like, oh, maybe some of the Scorched Plague, like, leaked out of the ground with the massive explosion, and so that converted her. But I don't, again, I'm confused. I think that covers what I'm trying to say here. Now, there is a little bit more lore here to see, but we'll just keep on moving. This is to show you that when I'm trying to create lore videos for things, I do actually have to go through a significant bit of thought to really get to the conclusions that I come to. Alright, so if we come over here, we can climb these stairs up, or of course we could have just stayed up there, followed the catwalk around, and while that looks like it's blocked, you could eventually climb over it, but it also does actually block this entrance here, so we can't go through that. So we're going to actually just have to go back outside, which we have to go back up for that. So this building here is a little bit confusing because there really is only one entrance and it only comes from that side. Anyway, let's come over here. So we'll check out this area where the ground has collapsed. Now we're getting back over towards some more Snallygasters, so I'm going to start sneaking again. Now, there's still about half the site to see. So we've got a train car here with nothing in it. There's one of the Snallygasters. These things are so freaking creepy. There we go. Pretty sure, yeah, all of these I believe have been glowing. Does anybody know why it is that the little achievement things work like that, where suddenly, after a fight against multiple glowing creatures, it'll say, oh, you killed a glowing creature. Anyway, coming back over here, I don't think we looked in here. And there is actually stuff to see in here. Yeah, so assume that every train car you see on the yard is something that you should look inside, especially if the door is open. Now, that's not the case, again, with the one that's over there where there's nothing inside of it. But all the other ones that have their door open, check them out because there is loot within. So we'll come past this large industrial digger here. And, okay, I just remembered another reason why I thought this was pre-war, and I'll show you that to you here in just a minute. Once we finish up on this side of the site. I'd like to get some more of this done before we lose the light. Okay, another Snallygaster down. I think there's at least still one more of them, though. Anyway, like I said, anytime you see one of these cars, check them out. Because coming in here, we got more loot. So again, more junk all over the place over here. Even got some hats. Coming over here, we got a little bit of ammunition, some meds, and the steamer trunk for the location. Now, I'm going to see if this is still the case in this one. But the first time through... Yeah, there it is. There is junk floating in the air right there. So yeah, you have the flip lighter and the magnifying glass that are definitely supposed to be inside this thing, sitting on top of this other crate. Not crate, but box with the pack of cigarettes. That's why the lighter's there. Anyway, I just thought that was funny. Coming around here, can't get into that one. But we also do have a couple of these, well, 3 of these Quonset huts over here. Is that yeah, just 3. So this, to me, looks like it was potentially a tunnel, because it does dead end right here, and that doesn't really make any sense. This should probably head off towards the Capital Wasteland, if anything. And so if we come over here, you can see that while this looks like a Quonset hut like the other locations, it does kind of seem to go into the ground almost. Now, I don't know why it rises up the hill with the hill, but regardless, you can see that there's a train coming through with a load of cars. Anyway, let's go ahead and check out the other Quonset huts. These are generally not really all that interesting. I mean, you can see here that kind of just dead ends into a big pile of dirt. Over here, we do actually have a little bit of an interesting thing here. We can't get into that one, but we can get in here. And there is some loot to be found in here. Explosives crate there, ammo box there, some more junk. And we've got another one of these carts here. And we got a lot of junk, a little bit of food there. And we come over here, yet another safe. Okay. So we've finished off this little corner of the site, so let's take a look inside this tower here. And note that there are these kind of rafts that they've built to build walkways. That seems to be a post-war thing, although I could be wrong about that. Now if we come over in here, you could potentially find a bobblehead right here. Okay. Also there's this terminal here. Another safe here. So let's open up the terminal. Okay. What? That was... What? I'm getting some bugs here. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to come to this on my Fallout Worlds. I'll read the stuff that's on here. And then I'll slip that clip in here, right here. Here we are in the beautiful sunny Fallout world, where I can kill these things with a single hit. It's beautiful, isn't it? Alright, and apparently I've gotten so mutated by the sheer amount of radiation here. Let me just take a look at this, because I'm not supposed to be turning invisible. That's one of my mutations. Chameleon, Herbivore, and Talons, all 3 of those have come simply by me walking around here and all the radiation here, while not really being hurt by it because of the way I've got my Fallout world set up. Anyway, let's take a look at this. So, message from R. Wilson. August 25th, 2077. I don't want a single dime spent on that geological report nonsense. I've been with NIR for over 30 years and I have never seen any of this so-called sinking or erosion as the report claims. Do you think NIR would have built a rail yard here in the first place if it were just going to sink into the swamp? Of course not. And from T. Pendleton. One word, Nuka-Cola Crayon. Try one. You can thank me later. That's an odd follow-up. Anyway, alright, let's get back to the other world. Wow, wasn't that amazing stuff? Okay, let's get out over here. Let's check out the rest of this site. So you can come up here on this ramp, and you can use this to get over to this car, where, again, there's more junk. Little outfit there. Some more junk. Okay. More radioactive barrels. Again, this place is highly radioactive. Oh, another Snallygaster, I think. Yep. And yet another Snallygaster. Okay, I think that actually did it for the Snallygasters. Now, and here we've got some meds there on the floor. A little bit of ammunition and some more junk and some more meds. Coming a bit further along. Actually, yeah, if we come through here, we can check out the other side. And there's even more stuff over in here. So if you see one side of a car closed, don't assume the other side is closed as well. A lot of lead here because of all these paint cans. A little bit of ammunition there as well. Weapons workbench, some more other just miscellaneous junk, and a bed. A little bit of food over there as well. And yet another open car. We can come in here and we can see there's some more junk. Okay. A little bit of food in terms of salt and sugar. Alright. Now we've still got multiple additional train cars to check out. Such as this one. So, we've got a little table over here with some more junk on it. More junk. And a recipe that spawns right here. Now, we can come through here. We should check out, I think we got 2 more train cars to check out. So we have a power armor station here. This is, I think, the second one at the site. And along with that, just some more junk. And I think a little bit of food right there. Yeah, potato. More radioactive barrels, except for these ones don't seem to be ticking, so that's nice. Coming up over here, more junk. Some ammunition, grenade. Okay. Alright, we have not checked out this building over here. There are 2 sheds like this on the site. One that's over there, this one here. We have not looked in here yet. Got another safe. A lot of safes here on site. Along with that, some more junk. Alright. Now, I told you, actually, there's a tiny bit more here before we move on. So, first of all, this thing is floating in midair for some reason, but I think they tried to compensate for that by having that board in there, except for I think that board just collapsed out of the bottom of this thing. It's not really a support. Along with that, there's a rib cage is floating, but if I bump into it, it falls. Okay. Got a couple of tables of stuff here, and you can actually potentially find a mod right here for a weapon. Okay. And you know what? I actually just realized I forgot to point out a recipe location. So it's right over there in that structure. And so I'm going to go over there real quick and show you where it is. But I'll cut out the in-between. Oh, punji boards. Okay, so careful for that. I wonder how I missed those before. Because we definitely came in that way, I believe. Anyway, coming over here. And it's actually not this structure, it's the other one. Which doesn't matter. We have to come up through that way anyway. Okay. And the recipe is actually here at the moment. And it's right here next to this other safe. Near this cooking station. So. Okay. Let's get back over to where we were. Okay, sorry about that. This site is fairly massive. And despite the fact that I have been here multiple times, I still kind of lose track of things here. So, if we come back through here, we'll see the last thing of why it is that I thought this place was basically a pre-war thing here. And if we come back this way, I'll show you why. Alright, the thing I wanted to show you is actually back over there, but I also wanted to show you this. I think this is a gravel pit. It doesn't show up when you get close to it even, but I think you can put a concrete extractor on that. Now if we come back over this way, this is what I wanted to point out. This is the other reason that I think that this all happened before the war, because these 2 jeeps are here. It seems to me that this was the response to the collapse. People came here, the military, the government came by, saw what happened here, and basically it was not long after that that the war actually started. So I think, and also the day before the war was, of course, the day that Watoga fell to the robots, so I think that they had a bit more on their minds than taking care of this over here. Whew, this place is huge, and I know it's been kind of a jumbled mess getting through it, but the place is a jumbled mess. But I hope you saw the sheer amount of stuff that you can collect here, and now to cap everything off, I'm going to show you the full list of all the loot that I got here. Alright, well, this has been the Resolute Cartographer. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.